So today we're actually covering Northwest Arkansas's biggest successes, which actually might be some of its biggest drawbacks at the same exact time. And there are 4 things we need to be aware of that, so let's talk about that. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. I actually was a real estate broker located in Chicago for over a decade out of the great, terrible, horrible state of Illinois. I decided to leave the dumpster fire state and I looked all across America, the classic spots you might be looking at right now. I looked all across America, but I chose right here in Northwest Arkansas for a lot of different reasons. So obviously, if you want to check out Northwest Arkansas, definitely let me know. Give me a call, shoot me a text, give me an email, and we can talk about all the reasons why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America. And if you haven't been down to Northwest Arkansas quite yet, I made something called the NWA Starter Pack. Sounds exactly what it is. It's literally a starter pack full of all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on in downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Fayetteville? What are the hospitals like? What are the schools like? What are all the trail systems? What is everything going on in Northwest Arkansas? I package it up, boop, 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 ship it right to your home, Enter your name below, enter your address below, where's this package going to? Let me know the information below. I'll make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. Also, side note, it does come with your first free mountain bike, so that's pretty cool. And I know what you're thinking. It is my favorite 4-letter F word. Free! So enter your information below and make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. All right, so I want to intro this video a little bit before we jump into the 4 reasons about like an area failing. So obviously, as areas grow, they need economic flywheels, they need businesses, they need people, they need all the different things happening to make it a successful area. And so some areas survive and some areas don't. And that is just obviously how the world works. And so part of the reason why I moved here is because I did a lot of research of all these different things that were being put in place, that are in place, that were already put in place a long time ago, that when I moved here, I could have moved anywhere I wanted to in America. But I chose Northwest Arkansas for a specific reason, because of growth, because of these specific things in place. But that doesn't mean it's immune to everything. That doesn't mean that things can change. And so we're going to address some of the core things that make Northwest Arkansas wildly successful, but also could be its downfall. And just so things to be aware of when you're doing your research, actually when you're moving here to Northwest Arkansas or choosing other areas in America. And let me kind of do a spoiler alert. I did a lot of the research you've already done when it comes to like Asheville or Chattanooga or Phoenix or Scottsdale or Boulder or Golden or Boise or whatever the case is. I've been and Northwest Arkansas is by far the best place to live in America. But we're going to still kind of talk about some of those potential pitfalls that we need to be aware of. And the first pitfall we need to be aware of when it comes to Northwest Arkansas growth and just making sure it's on a good path, this one's already been taken care of, but I do want to address it, is big businesses here. So some of the 3 biggest companies in the world exist here. We have Walmart, we have J.B. Hunt, we have Tyson. I'm sure you know who Walmart is and what they do. You might not know who J.B. Hunt is, but they're, if not the biggest transportation company in the world. So that's pretty cool. And then thirdly is Tyson, the biggest food producer here in the world exists right here. So 3 of the biggest companies in the world exist right here. So the most obvious question that people might ask is like, what if one of them leaves? And so just to clarify what's going on here, make sure to put those things at rest. J.B. Hunt is expanding their actual HQ here. They're making it bigger. They're hiring people. They're continuing to grow here. Tyson expanding their HQ. They've actually closed down different HQs in America to focus completely on Northwest Arkansas. They closed down South Dakota, they closed down Chicago, they closed a bunch of other ones that just bringing more people here to Northwest Arkansas. So, and they're expanding their campus here. And then thirdly, Walmart, they have a massive HQ being built currently as we speak. That's going to rival some of the biggest Silicon Valley HQs in the world. So that's pretty cool. So all these 3 major companies are gonna stay here for a very, very long time. I have no intention of leaving. There's literally nonprofits attached to growing the heartland of America, aka Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas, and it's focused directly on Northwest Arkansas. So there are many, we'll say, things that attach it to Northwest Arkansas. They've dumped hundreds of millions of dollars into the area to make it the best place to live in America, and they are going literally nowhere. And the second pitfall when it comes to Northwest Arkansas potentially having issues in the future, and this has been being addressed, it has been addressed, and is continuing to be addressed, is affordable housing. Now, that's the one thing that's interesting about Northwest Arkansas is that it's always been known for being incredibly affordable housing. If you look at all the stats, like top most affordable places to live in America, Northwest Arkansas always makes in the top 10 all the time. Whether it's Fayetteville, or Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville. Well, Bentonville's a little more expensive because Walmart's there. But long story short, Northwest Arkansas is notoriously known for having very affordable housing. housing. But that's, first of all, been intentional, and secondly, there's a plan to make sure it always stays affordable in the future. And whether it's being addressed by the Walton Foundation, or for Tyson, or J.B. Hunt, or the Northwest Arkansas Council, or other mid-sized businesses, or other sort of investment firms coming to the area, to make sure that they leverage all of the different styles of housing here to make sure that housing is always affordable for, we'll call like the people that are like, nurses, that are teachers, that are firefighters, that are officers, those, we'll say like those core functionality of a area that have jobs here, that need to actually have housing. Those housing will always be affordable here. And whether it currently, obviously right now, housing's going a little bit wild across America. Northwest Arkansas continues to grow up in housing because of the fact that of many people moving here. Long story short, housing will always be affordable because I can guarantee you that the big players that are working the area will make sure housing stays affordable, because if the housing gets out of control, it gets too unaffordable and people can't live here, then that becomes a problem. So that is one thing they're addressing, but it can be a caveat. It can be a pitfall if not addressed. Side note, every single year, the Northwest Arkansas Council brings in people that have built other cities, and they literally bring them in to say how to avoid some of these areas, how to avoid Austin, how to avoid Portland, how to avoid these areas that are unaffordable. And they're making these plans based on that to make sure they avoid all those pitfalls. And before we jump on to the next point, I have something brand new called Instant Home Updates. So maybe you're looking to move to the area and you're using things like Realtor.com, Zillow.com, or Redfin. Way too slow. Notifications, way too slow. That's why I made something called Instant Home Updates. Sounds exactly what it is, literally Instant Home Updates. So enter your information below: name, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms. Where do you want to move to Northwest Arkansas? What part of Northwest Arkansas do you want to end up when you eventually move your way down here? Let me know with all the information below. I'll make sure you don't miss a single notification when it comes for homes for sale or for rent, all in Northwest Arkansas. Also, every single Friday, I send an email out just kind of talking about all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on downtown Bentonville? When is First Fridays? When is First Thursdays? What's going on in Fayetteville? What are all the new businesses moving here? What's going on over in Pea Ridge? What's going on in Velvet? All the things. What's going on downtown Rogers? What's going on in Pinnacle? So many things going on all the time. All the time. Enter your name below. Enter your email below. I'll make sure you get that email every single Friday, just kind of keeping you up to date with all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. But side note, you will get a little fear of missing out, little FOMO, so to speak. But I promise you will be the most important person eventually when you make your way down to Northwest Arkansas. And the third pitfall that we need to watch out for when it comes to Northwest Arkansas, and that is infrastructure. Now, coming from Chicago, obviously infrastructure up there is, it's good, but also it's a dumpster fire at the same time with tollways and the whole thing. Long story short, Anyways, when it comes to infrastructure here, it is good and it is being built, but it definitely could be better. Now, what I mean by that is that the growth was planned for, and they're definitely keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak, but they need to make sure that they get ahead when it comes to those different things. Now, it's kind of based per city. Like, for instance, Pea Ridge, well known for having great infrastructure. That's why there's a lot of building going up there currently, because it's incentivizing builders to come, buy land, build homes, etc. Do all the things up there. Whereas other cities in Northwest Arkansas haven't been so, let's say, up to snuff when it comes to their infrastructure, which has cost them. And so they're kind of reaping the lack of benefits, I suppose, when it comes to Northwest Arkansas. That's for a different video. Anyways, infrastructure has been good. They're definitely making all the investments they need to right now when it comes to highways and byways and loops and the whole thing. But one thing to put in a little note in the future is that the darling, the diamond, whatever adjective you want to put there, of Arkansas is by far Northwest Arkansas. It drives the most revenue. It drives the most tax dollars. It is by far its asset. Arkansas's asset is Northwest Arkansas. There are other road projects that are on the docket to be finished, that are started to be done in Arkansas. And from a business perspective, I would assume that if they want to divert some of those other highways that aren't necessarily need to be done, and divert some attention and assets and money from Arkansas standpoint to Northwest Arkansas to make sure that is being taken care of, that will be done for sure. If there is hundreds of millions of dollars of potential tax revenue and growth happening in Northwest Arkansas, and they need to divert some money away from other assets and not start those right away and divert attention up here, that will for sure happen. So just kind of keep that in mind, is that as they're starting to work on these building projects, as they're starting to work on these highway projects, there will be more attention from Arkansas, because obviously they probably do a lot of the highways and byways, because it's RDOT, it's the highways. They will divert a lot more attention over here, as they have been the last 5 years. they will divert more attention here and kind of keep a little bit away from the other parts of Arkansas. And the fourth and final pitfall when it comes to Northwest Arkansas, when it comes to growth of everything, and this is more of a, we'll call it vibe or thought process or whatever word you want to put here, but it is like they just can't rest on their laurels. Northwest Arkansas has done fantastically, famously well for developing a brand, for developing trail systems, for having infrastructure, for drawing in businesses here, for raising up businesses here, the whole thing. They have to keep that entrepreneurial spirit alive in every single aspect of Northwest Arkansas, whether it's businesses or infrastructure or development of homes or whatever the case is. They need to keep that entrepreneurial spirit alive, that they want to do things differently. They want to try things differently. They just, they looked at the past and said, you know what, we're going to avoid those things. We're going to try something kind of new, or at least borrow ideas that have been from successful towns and cities, because there's other successes out there, obviously. So they're obviously bringing in those city planners that have done wild successes in other cities versus, we'll say, the cities have not done so well, even though they've grown exponentially. Austin is an example. Anyways, they're going to make sure they don't rest on their laurels. They make sure that they keep their entrepreneurial spirit alive, and they make sure that they stay true to who they are. And that's one thing that's very specific about Northwest Arkansas that you can't really communicate till you get down here, is that this place will never be Austin. It will always have its own identity. It will never have skyscrapers. It will always be a very pretty kind of small town hallmark vibe for as long as the foreseeable future, honestly, because that is what the plans are putting on and saying, is that they don't want to ruin Northwest Arkansas. From what I've heard from other people that are helping build the area, if they lose the soul of Northwest Arkansas for the sake of like growing a major city, they've lost the whole point, and they know that. And that's why they're somewhat slow to grow and very intentional, because they don't want to lose the soul of what is happening here. And so it gives me hope knowing that the people that are investing a lot of money, that are kind of helping the growth of the area, have intentions of keeping it in what it is, because what's the point of losing the soul of the city just to make a massive city? That you can go anywhere you want to in America for that, but you can't find that right here in Northwest Arkansas, because that's not the intent of the area itself. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, if you are thinking about coming down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itineraries link below. Maybe you're adventure, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're a sightseer, maybe you have kids, whatever it is. There's a 3-day itinerary link down below for you. So go ahead and download it, use it to get down here. Also, if you do come down here, I can give you the 10th tour so I can kind of show you around the whole area. Plus, we can check out some homes for sale or for rent and see how far your dollar would go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, I'll see you next one.